Today I fucked up by building a jerk bunker and my nephew tore the wall open years later. When I was a teenager, I did not have much privacy since I came from a big family. My family was loud, talkative and for me, unpredictable. I had it that they could enter my room without notice. I needed a way to guarantee some private solo time. That's why I installed 2 wired webcams. One was pointed down the hallway on the outside my room. The other faced the driveway. I cut the original cable and connected them to longer cables to my computer. I had 2 monitors, one for porn, one for the surveillance. That way I could see if anyone came home or approached my room. The cables was many meters and had to go through walls to get to the right spots. And since I went for a hidden cable arrangement, I had to hide the cable. I drilled holes in walls and I dug channels in the drywall. I even plastered and painted over the cable route. My craftsmanship was terrible, but good enough so that people noticed. I also bought a motion sensor door alarm from a toy store, the kind that beeped when the door opened. It looked like a cheap spy gadget for kids. I mounted it on my door, and it gave me a few more seconds of warning. The setup worked. I called my masterpiece, the jerk bunker, but I never fixed the damage. When I moved out, the holes, scratches, and cables in the wall were still there. My parents never found out. And I thought my parents were going to sell the house soon anyway. It turns out that my brother and his family wanted to take over the house. And their kid, my nephew, started using my old room. The room that I destroyed and left with cable arrangement inside the walls. He found one of those wires and started pulling it one day. My bad plastering didn't hold back and he made a huge scar in the wall. I had to explain to my brother why I have wired up the walls. I made a white lie, just telling him that I wanted a web camera for fun. But he called me a perv and told me that he could not let his kid adopt my old masturbation center. That's how I rigged my room with spyware just to masturbate in peace, and how many years later, my nephew destroyed the walls by pulling THOS cables. Exposing my bunker. TLDR. Teenage me rigged my room with spy gear to jerk off undisturbed. Years later my nephew found a cable and started pulling, leaving huge scars in the walls and exposing my jerk bunker. If any of this is true, and you didn't grow up to be some sort of inventor, engineer or in the trades, then IDK. Splicing cables together, plastering walls and running cables like that where no one noticed. You were some sort of whiz kid. I hope you don't work at a chic villa or something. This account has never written a comment, just intentionally trolley posts. Dibs on jerk bunker as a band name loudly crying. Ain't no fucking way you threaded cables through plaster walls and set up a webcam in a hallway. Your family was that brain dead they failed to notice a goddamn camera outside your room? Terrible story. Jesus op, why didn't you just jerk it in the shower like a normal teen? Or wait till everyone is asleep and jerk it in bed? You owe that nephew a wireless motion sensor camera once he turns 15. Give it to him for his birthday and help him install it. I like the part when you said you wanted to go for a hidden cable arrangement, so you hid the cable. It's awesome that your craftsmanship was horrible but good enough so people noticed. TIFU. I ruined my kid's driver's test. I reside in that terrifying period of having a child old enough to drive. They still have their learner's permit, but it's hardly for want of trying. To date, we have now had 5 attempts at the road test, with but 2 actual road tests. The first time we arrived at the DMV, we were presented with signs indicating that functionality of the car's windows would be tested. Problem: the passenger side window of my car doesn't roll down because the actuator is broken. Scratch that road test. Schedule another one with a different vehicle by imposing on my in-laws, because I have neither the energy to fix it myself nor the money to get it fixed right now. We arrive for the second time at the DMV. Pass through the line, as one does, and arrive at the desk. We're informed that all road tests are cancelled for the rest of the day due to a severe accident on the route. Having seen that accident while we were driving around earlier, we hope everyone was okay. It was 2 motorcycles versus a box truck. It's disappointing but understandable. Take 3 other than the kid failing the actual test because they drove too slowly. This one is uneventful. Bit of a trick question in that area, since the road speed isn't actually marked. So is take 4, aside from another failure. This time for creating a dangerous situation, something about some jerk speeding up as they were about to turn, and they had to brake partway through the intersection to avoid the jerk. Frankly, I'm okay with them failing for defensive driving, even if I think being dinged for driving defensively is silly. I also understand that the kid's description of events may differ from what the tester saw. And now we come to take 5. I picked them up from school to drive to the DMV, which is a good 45 minutes away from our semi-rural town. I've coordinated with my in-laws about using their car for the test. We're 10 minutes away from the DMV when I realize I forgot their birth certificate at home. A piece of paper which is absolutely critical for the road test, and which they won't do the test without. It's not physically possible to get home and back in time for the test. So they can't take it. The kid takes the news with understandable upset, and I want to cry. I had to take time off work to do this, and now I have to do it a sixth time. And I've just severely disappointed my kid, who is desperate to get their driver's license. Too long did not read. I forgot my kid's birth certificate and they weren't able to take their road test. For the fifth time. Could be worse. In the UK people have to wait 22 weeks for a driving test slot. So it could always be worse. Don't beat yourself up about it. I would take this as a sign lol. I'd be more annoyed as the dumb rule that you had to have their birth certificate. Over here, UK. You just need your provisional license, which I guess is the same as your learner's permit. Hey, it's an honest mistake. Don't beat yourself up too bad about it. I feel for your kid though. I actually had to take my driver's test a second time after passing it at a third-party facility and was randomly selected to take it again thinking face I was definitely disappointed cause I couldn't take it again right then and there because they were about to close and it was a Friday so little 16 years old me had to wait till Monday to take it again which is terrible for an antsy teeny open mouth smile best of luck to you and yours on the sixth attempt. Also, totally agree with the defensive driving thing that's how you have to drive realistically nowadays. No. Not your foo. If they are old enough to drive and have taken the test 4 times then they can ensure they have the right paperwork. People seem to be hard of reading with this one. On the last occasion, Op was supposed to bring the documents because they picked their kid up from school and went straight to the test. It is rational to not want a kid to carry their documents around at school the whole day. Stop dragging Op for not putting their kid in charge of keeping the documents.